So today we are talking about documentary filmmaking. Documentary filmmaking, you can also call it as non-fiction video production or non-fiction video editing. Let us start with defining the term documentary filmmaking. So from the name, what do you understand? It is about documenting something, right? But if it is about documenting something, then we would not have spoken about art or craft or technique of it. You could have simply gone and taken a video and done a coverage of this thing, and you just file it as a video proof of things that police department or any other government department they do. Suppose you are in a PWD department, you have got a road contract for PWD department. You are a road contractor, and from PWD, Public Works Department, you have got a contract to build a road. So PWD department will ask you to videograph the road before, and then when you complete it, they will ask you to videograph the road after. They will also videograph separately. You have to also videograph it. That can be also documentation, right? That is a documentation, but it is not a film. These documentations are not film. When police is doing investigation, there is one person always with a small handycam camera who will be documenting what is happening, but that is not a documentary film. Documentary film represents reality. It presents reality in artistic form. That is what documentary filmmaking is. As we already know, whenever we talk about films, we are talking about stories. So documentary filmmaking also must have stories. Documentary filmmaking tell a story of a character. Documentary filmmaking tell us stories about the location, about the place, about the world of the area. Documentary filmmaking also tell the story about the ideas, the ideologies, the themes, like fiction films do. So there is no difference between a fiction film and a documentary film in terms of art. The only difference between a fiction film and a documentary film is fiction film is a made up, created, fictionalized representation. Documentary filmmaking, we see real people, we see real locations, we see real incidents. There are many confusions when I conduct my offline classes and when I talk to people who are very new in filmmaking or who do not know, who want to get into filmmaking. Many people have very different ideas and many misconceptions about documentary filmmaking. Fiction and non-fiction, they get confused. So when I ask a question, if we see Richard Attenborough had made a film called Gandhi in 1984. You all have seen, Doordarshan have shown Indians that film for very long, since long. So Richard Attenborough's Gandhi, if you haven't seen, you should see it. Ben Kingsley has played Mahatma Gandhi's role. So what is it? It is, suppose, let us say, it cannot be, but let us say it is based on true life of Mahatma Gandhi. Rajit Kapoor has played Mahatma Gandhi in Making of Mahatma, directed by Shyam Benegal. Richard Attenborough has made a film on Mahatma Gandhi. There were some other films also made on Mahatma Gandhi, played by different actors, directed by different directors. So are these documentary films? Because these films are documenting the life of Mahatma Gandhi. But they are not documentary films. They are fiction films. Even if they are showing the truth, supposedly, then also they are a fiction film because there is an actor who is playing the role of this character who is dead 100 years ago, 50 years ago. Only if you get the footage, only if you get the archival clips of the real Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, real Mahatma Gandhi, and then you edit a film and give a voiceover or whatever, you show interviews of that person. When you showed real Mahatma Gandhi, then only it can be a documentary film. Shahid Bhagat Singh, Manoj Kumar has done, Bobby Deol has done, Ajay Devgan has done films on that. They all are fiction, even if it is based on true story. We do not know that Bhagat Singh walked like that. We do not know whether Bhagat Singh sang like that. It is fiction. Only if we see the real Bhagat Singh, then only it is a documentary film. Otherwise, it is not a documentary film. So this example of biographical example, biography genre example I have taken because this is the most misunderstood and most confusing for many people. It might not be for you, but still I have clarified it. You need to understand that it doesn't matter if the story is based on true events or not. If what level of replication of truth the filmmaker is making, that doesn't matter. If an actor is playing a character, it is a fiction. Now in documentary films also, in many documentary TV programs like Crime Patrol, and there are many programs like that, there also some of the characters are inserted and they show real locations also, and then they show Dramatization. In Hindi it is called Natya Rupantar. Dramatization, dramatized version of reality. They will write a ticker or they will write a note also in that video. So that becomes docudrama. Okay, that doesn't make it fiction also. That is a combination of fiction and non-fiction. It is a docudrama. But fiction and documentary are different only in this aspect, that it is happening fictiously. We have, even if it is a true story, but we are enacting it. In documentary film, we are watching the real footage. We are watching the original people, original locations. Now, in terms of telling a story, there is no difference. Like in fiction films, we have a character and a dramatic situation. A documentary film is also a story. Here also we have to have a character and a dramatic situation. One analogy I will give with the written. You can read a joke, a fiction joke, Santa Banta joke, or a short story, a fiction short story where there are characters, fictitious characters, Alice in Wonderland is novel, any other short story or a novel, a fiction. And you can read non-fiction also. Suppose you read newspaper. Some politician is coming to your city and the opposition is saying something. The politician, which the party it belongs to, is saying something. There are opinions of some common people. And then finally there is the opinion of the writer, the journalist also, or the editor of the newspaper. So here is a character, the politician who is launching into the city, who is coming to the city. And the dramatic situation is whatever the issue is, why he is coming into the city, for what he is coming to the city, what the opposition is blaming him to, what his supporters are talking about, and who do the filmmaker at the end is commenting upon it, the storyteller at the end is commenting about it. And the newspaper guys, the newspaper people, they call it story. What is Nitin Gadkari's story? What stories we are filing tonight for that? All the articles, all the blogs that we call, they call it story. And these are stories because they have character or characters and dramatic situation. Similarly, documentary films. A documentary film is nothing different than a fiction film in terms of storytelling. I have told you in terms of art form how they are different. In terms of technicality, how they are different, but in terms of structure of a story, in terms of storytelling, they also have a character plus dramatic situation, and documentaries also have a character plus dramatic situation. The fiction films also focus on one person or one idea. Similarly, documentary films, fiction and documentary films both should have point of views. From whose point of view we are watching this? Maybe we'll have 2 or 3 point of views in the whole film. But each and every scene is told through a particular point of view. The film can have multiple point of views, or the film can have just one point of view. I'll come to the types of different documentary films also. Both fiction and documentary film will have narratives. That what happens after this, what happens after this, what happens after that. A list of events. Both fiction and documentary will be taken in a particular style. It will have directorial style, they will have cinematography style, they have editing style, they will have music, sound, they have a particular style, particular theme to it. Documentary films are an artistic representation of reality. This is a short definition of documentary films. Now we can define after understanding this much. Documentary films are artistic representation of reality. Represent has 2 meanings. Both work in documentary films. Represent or represent. It represents reality also and it represents reality also. So this is what documentary film is about. There are various types of documentary films. First, I will let me get into the forms that you can directly see. Then I will get into the technical details of the forms, different forms. One documentary film that you mostly have grown up with is news. That is one kind of documentary films. So they make a program, TV. Like for example, we have feature films for OTT and theaters, and we have TV serials or again for OTT and television. Similarly, documentaries also have theatrical films which has one-off story or series or serials. Discovery TV, they contain programs, the serials. They have shows. Each show is different than other. The point I was talking about that in documentary films, if you're watching, the most common thing that you have grown up with will be news, that is a program, TV program again, or a Discovery Channel program. Like the past 10 years, this decade, by end of the last decade in India, these reality shows became more popular. Before that also reality shows were there, but they were like quiz shows, mostly were quiz shows, Kaun Banega Crorepati, and before that also quiz shows were mostly used. But after that, this Big Boss and then other types of reality programs started in. And these are also you have watched. These are all non-fiction materials. Then you can see documentary films on Netflix, Amazon, documentary series also you can watch on these channels. So these types of documentary films we are already aware with. Now let us see all these types, what they are technically called. All these different types of documentary films. Mostly common people, you guys are filmmakers, you might have explored many other forms, but mostly general audience do not watch that much of documentary films, but they consume documentary programs very much. News, Discovery Channel, and all these other examples, reality shows like Big Boss, all these channels are well consumed. These are all documentary. People might say that we do not like documentary, or people might judge that documentary films do not work in the market. It is wrong. The highest watched videos you can see might be documentary videos, documentary programs. One last point about documentary film I'll tell, then I'll come to the technical types of documentary films. Documentary films are original films. Like, the filmmaking started with documentary films are original films. Why I'm saying this? Because filmmaking started with documentary films. We just documented, we just shot things and showed it to people, like today's YouTube. 90% of today's YouTube is just single shot. People have shot with a mobile phone or one shot and just uploaded to send to someone or show something. The filmmaking started with this. Then people started enacting and then cutting. You have seen the cutting edge documentary, you know it, how this filmmaking evolved later also. So documentary filmmaking is real filmmaking also. Many people call it like that. That is filmmaking. Otherwise, the rest of the things are other forms of secondary forms of filmmaking. Documentary is a primary form of filmmaking. I would say that documentary, fiction, music video, corporate films, they are distinct forms of filmmaking, but story structure wise, storytelling wise, they all are same. We have to have a log line and we have to have a character. In the log line, we have to have a character and a dramatic scene. Three major types of documentary film. Now, all these documentary film examples that I gave can be categorized into these 3-4 types of documentary films. First is cinema verite. CINEMA, cinema verite. VERITE. Cinema verite. This is a French term. Cinema verite means, verite means truth, and cinema means cinema that you know. So, truthful cinema. Big Boss. Like you might say that it is totally sham and it is scripted and everything. That, leaving that aside, the form that they are using is cinema of truth. That the filmmaker is not interfering with the story, as if at least the portrayal is like that. Cinema verite means fly on the wall approach. It is also called observational cinema. That the filmmaker is not tampering with the material. Filmmaker is not getting in and making the sound. For example, in Big Boss, the treatment is that when two people are talking or when whatever is happening over there is no background music. It is zero sound post-production. What is getting recorded is directly coming to you. This is a rule for cinema verite, cinema, truthful cinema. It is also called as observational cinema, that you fly on the wall. The camera is like a fly on the wall. The filmmaker is like a fly on the wall. He is just looking at what is happening, even after the editor is not interfering with it much. Now, obviously, the editor has to edit. You cannot keep the entire production, all the shots into the film. Obviously, you have to interfere, but it has to be minimalistic. The feel to the audience must be given that the filmmakers are not interfering between the subject and the audience. So, cinema verite started with Europe. It was like a revolution against the sophisticated filmmaking, and they wanted to show what is happening in reality, right? And no sound post-production. Yes, of course, there has to be sound editing, but very little sound post-production. So whenever you are going to edit a type of documentary film, you should talk to the director of what approach you want. Do you want it a cinema verite approach? Do you want to be an essay documentary approach? Do you want to be a personal documentary? Or do you want to be a hybrid documentary? These are the types I am coming next. Cinema verite, observational cinema. We are not interfering with it, with the content, and we are just showing people directly what is happening with no kind of manipulation to it. Second type is essay documentary. This type of documentary is mostly seen on Netflix series. Discovery Channel programs are kind of essay documentaries. An essay is an argument. I myself as a filmmaker is giving both the sides of the topic, both the sides of the argument, or four sides of the argument, or 10 sides of the argument. I am only presenting. So an essay is an argument. Just remember when you used to write essay in school. So when we were very little, at that time, the science, curse or a boon, these kind of topics were given, which were open-ended topics, where you cannot just directly pass a judgment that yes, science is a boon. No, science is a curse because so many wars happen because of science, right? An essay is always an argument. There is a brilliant film. You leave aside the politics of it. I am talking about editing wise. All editors must watch it. Ram Ke Naam. It is made by Anand Patwardhan. Anand Patwardhan is the director. Ram Ke Naam. It is about the Babri Masjid demolition. Now the film is anti-BJP, right? It goes against BJP. So, but even the pro-BJP people should watch it if you are filmmakers. So you might disagree with the film. You can go and write comments about disagreement. But see the editing, how they are creating the structure of the essay, how they are presenting different arguments. Yes, in the end, the argument is tilted towards the non-Hindutva, that the masjid or mandir, how the politics is being played. But in terms of editing, in terms of structuring the story, it is a masterpiece. It has to be, and it is put free on internet. Ram Ke Naam, you can watch the film. There are many essay documentaries. This one I pointed out because it is a film. I have recommended this to my students, and I have told them that do not watch the politics of the film. Just watch the story, and just watch the cutting of the film. Just watch the editing of the film. I am telling you also, I challenge that you will get involved into the story. You cannot just watch the cuts, whatever they are showing, and that is the success of the filmmaker. Now, whatever his stand is, politics is, we have to respect. Even if some pro-BJP people make, they should make a documentary explaining that why it is done, why the temple is required. That should also be welcome, and that should also be watched. Whoever makes it a better, making a film will not decide court's judgment. Making a film will not decide, as we have already discussed in this class also, that no smoking ads do not make people quit. So even if I make a film on anti-BJP planks, it is not going to destabilize the government. What as filmmakers we are talking about here is how the narrative is built, how the structure is built, and how we as a young editors can build upon what people have done already. That is one recommendation. Essay means an argument. If I would have made that film Ram Ke Naam, I would have been more neutral. I feel Mr. Anand Patwardhan has been tilted towards one side, but nevertheless, the way he has presented, the way he has told the story is very commendable. Coming back to essay documentary films, Cinema Verite is an observational cinema. Here, essay is not just observational. Here, you construct an argument. You show all the sides of the elements. See, it might seem like that these are creative things, but no, these are technical things. How you place them, how do you make them smooth for us to watch is your creativity. But these are the technical things that I also have to do when some project comes that we need an observational type of approach for Bigg Boss, or there are many examples like that. So I have to edit in that manner. I cannot just put music after each dialogue or everything. But in essay documentary films, I have to take a different kind of approach. I have to present arguments, and those arguments have to be digestible to the audience also. Third type of documentary films are personal documentary films. Now, personal documentary films are films where the filmmaker is talking or making a film about one of his personal life, one segment of his personal life. When a filmmaker makes a film on himself or herself, that is a personal film. Now you might think that who is going to watch that film? This is a form. Okay, for example, a very famous film, Roger and Me, by Michael Moore. Michael Moore is a big documentary filmmaker. If you are interested in documentary films, you should follow Michael Moore. So Michael Moore's first film, 1989, Fahrenheit 9/11 is made by Michael Moore. He is anti-capitalist, anti-Republican, anti-George Bush, anti-Trump kind of person. Where to Invade Next is a comedy documentary film he has made in 2015, where he takes one boat, a small boat, and an American flag, and he goes to different countries from where he will bring good things of those countries. For example, he goes to Italy and he sees that Italian people get get 2 months of paid holidays. 2 months they go for holidays, they don't work, and they get paid by the government, by the companies. So in America, it is unbelievable, incredible to think, and no one will give holidays for even 1 week is difficult in America, he was saying, Michael Moore was saying. So, because they do not have festivals like Diwali and all those things where holidays can be accommodated, they only have holidays during Christmas. So now he plants that flag. This is a comedy documentary, and he say that I am taking this idea. Like America always invades and takes things. That is the theme of the film, and he's going and taking good ideas. So France, how people are doing food, how French government provides good food, high quality food to school children, that he invaded and took. From Sweden, he took the education system. So the approach was, it was a hybrid film. I will come back to the later, but it was a comedy film. So Michael Moore is a big documentary filmmaker. He's a very popular documentary filmmaker, and very commercial one too. His documentary film sells for a good price. His first film was Roger and Me. It is a personal film, personal documentary film. And his career started with that documentary film. In that film, he has shown real footage that he was working as a reporter in San Francisco, and he was not liking the job as a journalist, as a reporter. He got a news that somewhere in Ohio or somewhere in the Midwest, Illinois, I don't remember his native place, Michael Moore's. So GM Motors was a big company in that city, in Minnesota or somewhere in the middle America, and GM company was closing its plants unannounced, and they were like throwing out people. His whole town, that native place, all those people were working in the company. Like in India also, we have such pockets where people work only for NTPC or from some coal mines in Jharsuguda, in Odisha, in Jharkhand. In these areas, there are many townships. This Jamshedpur, in Bengal, there's Durgapur. So these places are Sioni in Uttar Pradesh, like near Jabalpur. All these places are there. So this Minnesota area was totally dominated by this GM Motors, and this GM motor was taking out. So I just forgot the name. The Roger, whatever the last name, was the head of that company, GM Motors company. So this guy, Michael Moore, is the protagonist of the film. He has made the film. So he said that I am going to have a meeting with this Roger, and I am going to ask him face to face why you are doing this to my city, why you are throwing so many people out of the jobs. Okay, you can watch the film, there was some kind of a scam. Actually, it was unearthing of the scam, but treated in a way where director or filmmaker has taken it on himself to meet. The story, the main theme is, I am going to meet the head of this company. He takes approach different ways, he approaches, and then he's rejected, he's refused, no one meets him, they know his agenda. All these things happen. It's a feature length 2-hour or 1.5-hour film. But the information that you receive is about the corporate structure, about American life, and about how people can manipulate, big business can manipulate anyone in a capitalistic society. In that American context in 1980s, a personal documentary film. But it is not just about, even if you're not interested in Michael Moore. Now Michael Moore is a very interesting personality that goes in his favor. That he's a very quirky, he's a fat man who speaks very like in a filthy manner. He charged on George Bush. There's a very famous footage, right? He started abusing George Bush in front of him when he was the president, and George Bush was also abusing him, that you are a filthy person and you don't have any job, go get a real job. And he is also telling George Bush something. So he's a very quirky kind of character also. There are many filmmakers, women filmmakers, who have made films on their families, on themselves, and they were very, very intimate and very emotional documentary films also. So cinema verite, essay documentary, personal documentary. Whenever you approach, your approach has to be different in these different places. Personal documentary and essay documentary can be manipulated like a fiction film. Cinema verite, observational cinema, is also manipulated like a fiction film, right? But the feel to the audience must be that we have not tampered with it. We are just directly showing you what has happened. In cinema verite, it is very important. Hybrid documentary is the mix of all these forms. Hybrid documentary films, where you have essay also, you have cinema verite approach also, you have different types of approaches, and you make a hybrid film out of it. So these were the main types of documentary films. Whatever you watch comes under these categories. So if you're watching Big Boss, it is cinema verite film. If you're watching a news item, if you're watching a documentary film on farmer protest or something, it is a essay documentary. When you're watching Man versus Wild, it is a personal film, that what this person is having, how this person is having relationship with this nature and the animals and other things. These are the more popular examples I am taking. There are many other examples. There are many classic films also to watch and to understand documentary films. This is very important information for editors and documentary film directors, obviously, but also editors, because in documentary film there is a funny quote that when we are shooting documentary films, God is the director, and when we are editing, editor is the God. So editor can change a film which is shot for cinema verite, editor can make it look like an essay documentary film. A film which is shot very personal space, like a personal documentary film, an editor can make it show like a cinema verite film. So editor is very important in a documentary film. Whenever you approach a documentary film, you have to understand that it is not a fixed script. Like in fiction, you have to abide by the script. So both are difficult to edit. Fiction is more difficult than the documentary film, many people say, because you have to do exact thing what is needed. Yes, documentary filmmaking is quicker. It is quicker to make a documentary film than a fiction film, because in fiction film it is also hard. Both the things, the decision making, the process of decision making is same. An editor is a decision maker. It is not just a cutter. So hard level, difficulty level, both are, I would put, equally, having done both kinds of films. But I would say fiction films take too much of time, because more you have to have the right continuity, you have to have the rhythm and everything. All these things, rhythm and everything, you need to have in here also. Just because of the continuity part, documentary films are not very concerned when we about continuity. We can have jump cuts, people will not care, and we can have jump cuts, but here we cannot have jump cuts, unnecessarily jump cuts. And colors and everything in cinema verite is very quick to make, as you understand. So similarly, other documentary films types also are quicker to edit than fiction film. Before getting into more about editing into of a documentary film, we need to know about how they are shot. Documentary films are shot. And ideally, documentary film production starts with the research. People know about the research and what they do. When I am thinking like a director, and many times I have shot also documentary films. So when I'm thinking like a director right now I'm not thinking like an editor. So I will go and I have to bring research to the table first, right? What all we have to know. So there are various ways. I can read books. I can go and meet people. I can go to internet. So going to internet, going to books are secondary form of research. If I go directly to the person, that is a primary form of research. So whenever I go to a person first time, I just talk to him and I will ask them whether they will speak all those things in front of a camera or not. So if they agree, then I tell them second thing, will they speak these things twice on the camera or not? So first time I will just shoot the rough version, and then second time I will shoot the final version. That I tell them. People agree. And what I do, first time also and second time also, whether it is rough or final, I take the best camera that I have, I take my crew, I make it look like that I am doing rough, but I shoot it professionally. I think about the background, I think about the audio, I tell the person that wear a better shirt or a better dress, because if needed, some of the shots we can use. But I shoot him nevertheless, the first shot. Now this footage, the interview that I have recorded, that I watch it again and again, twice and thrice. And after that this research is the final research that happens. So if there are many other people, I will take short interviews of different people. And watching those interviews twice and thrice, I will understand everything about the topic. And then I will plan my shots that, okay, first day we need to shoot the dam, second day we need to shoot the river, third day we need to shoot the jungle, fourth day we need to shoot the mountains, and then we have got whole documentary about the environmental protection of this region or whatever is the topic you have. So this is the way a professional documentary filmmaker approaches. It saves times, and the content also becomes well researched and well thought out in a shorter period of time. Otherwise, you will go on and go on. Each and every topic will yield so much of information that you can go on and go on. You have to figure out people who you are going to keep in the film. First, record them, shoot them, tell them it is rough, so they will be more natural and more comfortable, and it will be a good practice for the second shoot also. Then go on and shoot second time. Obviously, if the person is talking naturally, he or she will speak different metaphors in a different language in both the interviews, and you can use both the interviews. Right, you can make a good story with the both the interviews. Some points will be the same. You can use them also in the artistic manner. Edit all of them in the artistic manner. One sentence of the same topic that we are talking about in this shirt and that shirt, this background and that background. Two major things. There are various blogs on documentary filmmaking. You have to do this, that. I'm putting it very simply for you. Record the interviews and do the coverage. Right, two parts. Divide when you are shooting documentary films. You record the interviews, watch the interviews, read everything available about it, listen to the interview, what the guy is saying or your other interviewers are saying, and then you plan the coverage. The second part is the coverage, where you cover the actual topic. If you are making an environmental documentary film, as I told, rivers, mountains, if you are making documentary film on another topic, you go and shoot those places now, go and take footage of other areas in your video recording, and then take the interview again, conduct the interview again also. This is the correct way of approaching it. Now, having said this, I have given you a broad area. I am not saying all the blogs are wrong and everything. I have given you a broad, simplistic take to approach. Then you go on and take out your own creativity. How do you approach and how do you work around it? Now, when you edit it, similar kind of workflow you follow. First, you watch all the interviews at least twice. You watch all the interviews. You do not watch the footage now, coverage now. Watching the interviews will give you understanding about the subject, what all you are going to use, what not you are going to use, which part you are going to use first, which part you are going to use last. You watch all the interviews. Now come to the footage. And whatever paper edit and whatever things you have edited, now try to make the film without the interview. This is my approach. You might have some other approach also. I am just giving you my approach. Not just my approach, many people do it like this. Many people might do like in other way also. But hear me out what I am saying. I watched all the interviews. I know about the subject now. Now I take the coverage, the visuals, different visuals that we have, non-interview footage that we have, and I try to create the story without the interview on the timeline. Just the visual story. So if I am able to make a story without the interview, then by putting the interview into the story will make it complete and more powerful. And it will not be a talky film also. This is my approach. Again, I am saying, I do not want to make the film very talky also, that some guys telling. We have shot the footage. That is why I shoot the interview first and then try to shoot the other footage and try to tell the story visually. As an editor, you must have this target that you want to tell visually. Just because it is a documentary film, so you show this person talking, then this person talking, then this person talking, only talk. We are not showing a lecture. We are showing a film. We are showing a story. I'm not saying that you do not use the interviews. You must use interviews where you do not have any visuals. The places where the interview has spoken with, where you cannot imagine any visuals or you have not shot the visuals, that places you use. Other parts you show what is happening. You do not tell. Whether it is cinema verite, more in cinema verite, but also in personal and essay documentary films. Sound, it depends. If it is a cinema verite, you do not manipulate that much. But if you have a distorted sound, you have to do EQ and you have to put filters that we have talked about, right? It's no sound post-production doesn't mean bad sound you can give output. You cannot give output to the bad sound. Music, again, depends. You think the story like a fiction story. So there will be some sequences where you are keeping music. Right. Same here. You have to also keep music, some sequences, some transitional montages you are creating. Same here. You are creating transitional montage. So the sound editing, I will not keep it very different than fiction editing. Yes, only thing is that we do not need any dubbing. We have an interview and we have the real footage, real clips that we have shot, the coverage clips that we have shot. So editing and sound, the workflow should be first you listen to the interviews thoroughly. but do not use the interview in your first assembly or in your rough cut. After you have made a rough cut without the interviews, just see how much you can understand. Yes, you will be able to understand more better because you have heard the documentaries. Then show it to your director or someone else who doesn't know anything about the project, and whatever the loopholes he or she, your target, your test audience is telling you, Arey, I do not understand why this is happening or why that is happening, in these places I need the interview to fit in. So this is how you edit documentary film. And final part of this lecture will be what do you do after the edit. So like we have spoken about in file delivery, that there are 4-5 classes of deliverables. In last Friday we have spoken about that you give to OTT, you give to TV, you give to web. However, the various areas you are giving the exports to. Similarly, here in documentary films are distributed in OTT platforms. Theatrical releases happen all the time in America and Europe and there's developed countries. In non-developing, underdeveloping countries, documentary films do not get that much because theaters are expensive, and documentary filmmakers all over the world have lesser budget than fiction filmmakers. So expensive theatrical screen. Underdeveloped countries have very expensive theatrical releases. 35% of one show you have to give if you're a young distributor or a producer to the audience. So theatrical releases are lesser. Now OTT, now in the level field, OTTs, people are watching many documentary films on OTTs also. YouTube is a very good resource for documentary. Vimeo.com you can go for documentary films. Documentary films are also, there are dedicated channels for documentary films. Al Jazeera, ITVS, Epic TV in India. There are globally many dedicated news channels, documentary TV channels all over the world. We are having a course, we are starting a course, 1 month course like this on documentary filmmaking. Here in the last 2 weeks we are going to talk about documentary film funding and documentary film distribution in detail. So basically there are 4-5 ways where you can distribute a documentary. You can give it to an OTT channel, you can send it to film markets. Now film markets are something is always attached with a film festival. There are many film, for example IFFI in Goa, that happens, which this will happen in Pune this year. So IFFI Goa has a film bazaar by NFDC, National Film Development Corporation. They organize a film bazaar which is attached with the festival. Now Sheffield Film Festival, they have a film market. In India there are only one documentary film market or dockage that happens in Kolkata during February. I don't know this year what is happening due to Corona and pandemic. Each year dockage, docedge.org, dockage.org, you can go to their website and check. That is one international pitching festival that happens. All the big commissioning agents like Al Jazeera and ITVS and Sundance and NHK from Japan, they come and you pitch your film to these places. They also happen. There are many local fundings also. Your local newspaper channel, you can approach them and your local newspaper channel about a topic and they can fund you. You will be surprised if you can get to the head of not the editor, the owner of the channel or the marketing division of the channel. You can show them that some kind of documentary films, documentary videos you can make which can promote the newspaper's content marketing thing, and many newspapers will make, and they make. One major revenue resource for documentary films are NGOs. All the NGOs, big or small, depends on funding, whether foreign or national or government funding. They have to make an annual video report every year, at least once. So they make a documentary film of what they have done in this. So you can call it like it is a corporate film also. Corporate films are also part of documentary film, but corporate films are totally about corporate and business and about product and what is happening in the company, if it might be training or anything. These NGO documentary films are always about an issue, whether animal rights issue or domestic violence or whatever that NGO is working on. There are lots and lots of thousands of NGOs in your city. Wherever you are living, in your city there will be thousands of NGOs, and each and every NGO will need. Now they won't have budget, no budget, that depends on you and them. There are many big NGOs also, Oxfam, and there are many big NGOs, not just international ones, but in your towns also, your local businessman, they are running many kind of charitable organizations. They also need video documentation to show what they are doing or to document what they are doing, even if they are not looking for funding and for their own records and everything. So it has a lot of scope. Documentary filmmaking has a lot of scope. As an editor, you need to understand who is the target audience and where your video and documentary is finally going. So this is about documentary filmmaking. We have covered what is documentary film, artistic representation of reality. We have seen types of documentary film: cinema verite, essay documentary, personal documentary, hybrid documentary. Then we have seen production of documentary films. We have spoken about interviews and coverage and workflow of editing, how should we attempt to organize the edit on the timeline. And finally, after editing, it can go to these 4-5 places where you can place your documentary film.